Hey, this is Rustin with Metalholic and the Boise Examiner, and I'm here with the guys from Pop Evil.
Yeah.
Since we got so many of you, I'll let you introduce yourselves.
For sure.
I'm Dylan.
Tony. I'm Lee.
Matt. Davey. See that?
We'll do that again, Davey.
Yeah.
What's up, David Gross?
Well, thanks, guys, first off, for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. You and I talked a couple months ago when you were out on the Outbreak tour.
Right.
And we were talking about the new album that we were hoping was going to come out any day.
Right, right.
And I know that I've heard that there's been some problems, obviously, I guess with Universal or something.
Right.
But I'm told the album is now coming out, different label, coming out this summer or something. What's the story?
Yeah, we haven't announced the label yet, but you know, it was a big mess, you know, and just labels these days priorities are, I guess, different than we want them to be as far as our band and our band family goes. And you know, it took a long time to get out of there, and you know, finally we got out, and we couldn't be happier to have a fresh start with a new label and people who believe in the band. And you know, we're a priority to them. Hopefully, you know, we'll see. I guess time will tell. But you know, we want what's just best for the music and our fan base. And it's exciting to finally have an opportunity to have the album out the way we originally designed it, from the artwork to the layout to the music itself. That, you know, Universal is never going to do.
I suppose it worked out good then, because it would have never happened the way that we
would have never happened in
Right.
Universal. You know, so.
So, do you guys have an actual date now when you know it's come out, or just sometime this summer?
You know, I mean, we're hoping to have it in the next week or two, you know, but we're going to make a big announcement when it does and with the new label. But for right now, all they told us was summer. You know, I mean, they've dabbled on different dates, but you know, nothing's been set in stone. So without trying to get everyone's hopes up again,
right.
You know, we're just going to wait until they announce it. They know for sure, and then we'll, you know, make a big deal about the announcement and let everyone know, of course, on our Facebooks and on your site as well, and you know, kind of go from there. So we're excited about the summer.
Well, the first single, Last Man Standing's been out for a while, so everybody's jazzed and amped up to hear that.
Right.
You had the song, I guess it's not going to actually be on the album, but Save the World you put up on your Facebook page.
No, that's not totally true. Originally it wasn't going to be on because Universal they only wanted 10 songs of this and this. So again, I don't know for sure, but there is talk that there's going to be the album, which originally was recorded with 12 songs.
It should all be on there.
I think that what I heard, I think everything's going to be on there. You know, at least in some kind of a deluxe package or some kind of form. So again, you know, details are still being worked out, but anything's possible now. So we're extremely excited because Save the World's been doing so well for us. You know, as far as the Facebook page goes, and you know, we look forward to like, you know, again, what we were saying earlier, putting out the album the way we originally designed and intended it to be put out. You know, and it was kind of depressing when you spend 6 months, you know, recording an album and then, you know, another 3 developing this artwork that was totally based. I mean, we put together an album, War of Angels, that was an entity based on, you know, some of the great records we listened, you know, grew up with the Guns N' Roses albums. You know, you listen to it from start to finish. You know, it was an entity. It wasn't just a couple singles that you wanted to listen to. It kind of took you out of place. In War of Angels, we try to do the same thing. You know, and if you're taking songs in and out of it, you know, it kind of hurts what we were trying to do, you know, from the beginning. So, you know, we're excited to kind of have, you know, the music have the opportunity that it deserves.
Yeah, and I think it's about trying to get people to like love bands again, not just songs. You know, like, oh, I like this song or I like that song. You know, just selective songs here and there, but becoming fans of bands.
Well,
missing.
and I think what you guys did with this record is you took us back to a time where not many bands do it anymore because the digital one song here, one song there.
Right.
You guys have crafted an album. All 12 songs that you have for the album, War of Angels, are phenomenal. It's like you guys have put together one of those albums where there's not a weak track, and it's very hard to do. And that's why everybody's just, you know, chomping at the bit to get it. And I wanted to talk about some of the songs today.
Sure,
because in listening, now that after I reviewed it, you only listen to it 2 or 3 times before you review it because you want to get it up.
Right.
But I've literally, it hasn't left my CD player in the car for 2-3 months.
That's awesome.
So I'm listening to it constantly, and the more I listen to it, the more nuances come out and everything.
Right.
And I noticed lyrically and everything what's going on the album, there's a lot of angst, a lot of, I don't know, anger, a lot of loss. So I'd love to go through and like talk about some of the different songs on there.
Sure.
And I know the next single is going to be The Monster You Made.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about the song. Have you guys already figured out what you're going to do for the video?
Well, the video treatment still being in the works. We're just excited that we're going to get a video. You know, this day and age, you know, You know, getting videos is so few and far between. There's a song I had from 2007 and wasn't sure if the band would even like it, you know, and you know, kind of we got in this process, we had 30 songs, and we all write in this band, you know, we don't try, it's not just come from me being the singer, you know, and everyone's got great ideas and everyone's capable of writing hit songs.
This one in particular you did write, though.
Well, I had the concept originally done, you know, and we kind of felt like it was cool. Actually wrote it about Matt at the time, which was just, you know, person he was kind of, you know, was having a hard time with. And, you know, that was kind of the original motivation, and kind of evolved to this, wow, who we've become now that we've kind of become full-time musicians. And the band loved it. We demoed it out, you know, in California, and it just, you know, everyone was just like, wow, this is a powerful song, you know, and to have it be a single now is, to have any song be considered for a single is always an exciting process. But it's just one of those songs for me personally on the album that, and again, I'll let the guys speak for themselves, which is one I always listen to every time I pop in our album. Monster is always the first or second one I listen to, you know. So, you know, we're excited to have it be the next single, and we're excited to see, we're excited to have it help some people. We know that lyrically, you know, and musically, it's gonna, we feel, help a lot of people. You know, in the same vein as 155, and you know, those lyrically driven songs that, you know, hopefully get you through those hard times that you end up going through in everyday life. You know, so.
Well, and it's interesting too when you talk about that, because when people hear songs, even if they hear the story behind it, when they hear the song, they have their own story to it and everything. When I was listening to it, when I'm not doing this, I work with people who have addictions. And the first thing I thought of, I had like a video treatment in my head of, you know, here's this guy who had this life and then he started doing meth. And literally it's like you see him devolve through at the beginning, you know, the monster is his life and society, and then in the middle of it, meth becomes the monster. And at the very end, you see the camera pull back and he's staring in the mirror, and it pulls out through the bars, and he sees the monster is himself. And he's got nobody else to blame. And you've got a lot of songs on there like that. Tell me about Purple. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I think that's another thing about like even 155. Like a lot of people relate to that song, but they all do it in different ways. I think that's part of what makes it a really good song too. Is, you know, not having it be about one certain thing. You know, you can write it, you know, pertaining to something dealing with yourself or your life or something that you're going through. But like for people to be able to take that song and apply it to their own life and have it help them with whatever they're going through, I think that's what really makes, you know, good music, that, you know, people can, you know, helps people.
Right, and literally, I can't say this enough, you literally have 12 potential singles on there. But one of my favorites this week is Purple. I was sort of listening to the lyrics, and the one line, I'd never noticed it before, but it popped out in the first verse or something about being behind bars, and I'm like, wait a minute. Suddenly now I've got this image of, this is a guy who's got an alcohol problem, he beats his girl, now he's behind bars, and he realizes, but is that what the song is about? Or
well, one of Tony's original
concepts. Yeah, the way it started is a girlfriend of mine, we got matching tattoos on our shoulders, you know, of both, you know, flowers, purple. So, you know, just was a favorite color of both of ours. So like, oh, what can we do, you know, as far as, so we both got these flower tattoos with, you know, purple flowers. And that's where, you know, the beginning of the verse where I wrote, you know, such a beautiful color you wear upon your skin, you know, the perfect shade of purple on a flower, permanent. And it started out about these, you know, matching tattoos. And besides that, it was more of like a, you know, a friendship thing to me. Like, I didn't know, like, the song didn't necessarily have any direction per se, you know. But I showed what I had to Lee, and he took it and ran with it, and thought about like an entire, you know, entirely new concept to this song, which is cool because it's something I would have never thought of.
Right, and we took it, I mean, not whether it's with your addiction, whether you're literally in jail or prison, you know, I know we've all felt individually, collectively as a band that we were trapped, and, you know, our addictions kind of made us realize how many people we've hurt, you know, because of those addictions, obviously alcohol being a big one, you know, being in a rock and roll band, and it's always the times when you're sober, you realize, oh man, was kind of a douchebag that day, you know, and just very relatable to our audience, you know. I mean, in the active rock culture that is rock and roll, you know, that people come here with addictions, they come here because they need that music to help them get through again, you know. And you know, Purple was a song that tried to, very similar to Monster, you know, I think it's just because a lot of us were going through those stages at that point when we were writing, you know, this album. You know, a lot of people, loved ones we had taken for granted, and not in anything mean, but just you feel we've been away from our families now for the past 4 years, you know, since we started, and it's nonstop. And I think that, you know, with sometimes the music helps remind you really what's important, you know. And it was kind of like, in a way, just looking at ourselves back in the mirror. And I took that story that Tony had and wanted to make it, you know, more personal, I guess, you know, and that's kind of how it evolved.
Yeah, and there are a lot of emotive songs like that on the album, but you guys have a ton of great rockers on there too. You start with Last Man Standing, and then Epitaph. That's just like a foot right in the gut.
Yeah.
So you guys come right out bashing with that.
Yeah.
And one thing I like about Epitaph, even though it's kind of like, it's got like that old school metal, you know, riffage going on, but it's got the modern production to it.
Right.
So it kind of brings the two together.
Yeah, that's what I sort of noticed when I listened to the album, is you really took a lot of that 80s arena rock metal flavor that we all loved, but it's got a very modern feel.
You know?
Right.
And it brings it all together. And right now, it's among my top 5 for the year. So, by the time it finally gets out, hopefully it'll be the same for everybody else. I know you guys have a lot of stuff to get ready for us, but before we get out of here, maybe if we could go around and each of you tell us what your favorite song on the album is and why.
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan, you want to start it?
My favorite song on the album, I think, is "The Boss's Daughter." It's just, I don't know, it's kind of like, I used to love the whole Motley Crue, the whole 80s hair metal, the early 90s was just, I grew up on that. So for me to be a part of a song that's kind of like, almost ties in a little bit of history of music and brings it more into like a modern, more driving, modern rock type song, but with the flavor of some of the old greats, you know, Mick Mars being involved in that track. It's just kind of like a culmination of like my whole life of a musician, of like what I love so much to where I've become as a player and a person today, you know. So it's just kind of like that. It's got a nice fast pushing drum beat, it rocks, the guitar's kicking along, so that's my favorite track.
And that's one of the ones you guys are going to slip into the set tonight, I believe.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
So, what about you?
You know, I was gonna say Boss's Daughter would definitely be one. You know, the same reasons. We get to get together, and I get to do some writing with Mick Mars. You know,
Nice.
some of those riffs ended up in that song, and but I think another one for me is I think Let It Go. I think because I think it's one of one of the best stories on the album. You know, it's a cool song, and I think it's got a really great story behind it. You know, it's just like you can almost picture it. You know, the words really just kind of paint a picture with this song.
Yeah.